Let me say again. Welcome to the 21st episode of Born in Trouble.
Morning,
I'm your
Mr.
host, John X. Good afternoon, Mr. Brooks. And of course, since he's going to start first, I might as well introduce him first from New Jersey, Pennsylvania. Mr. Brooks with the good looks, Mr. Robert Brooks.
What it is.
Take a round of applause. The city winning Kang from Detroit, Michigan.
Chip.
Mr. Grant Lancaster.
What up, though?
What up, though it is? What up, though it is? And welcome back to the one, the only, the man, members only. It's an exclusive club. Mr. Gene Hopkins.
With bad jackets.
It's Bud members only, but the Bud doesn't show.
But they'll keep you warm. Either way, jackets or Bud, keeping your insides warm for generations. Mr. Gene Hopkins.
I'm about 27 pounds lighter now.
So fellas.
That's how they talk.
Yeah, we missed you, Gene. We missed you, Gene. Go ahead and sing. Sing. Lift every voice there and sing, please.
Like a rock in my shoe. Like a baby missed his mammy titty.
His mammy titty. Missing the mammy titties. Mr. Gene Hopkins.
That's
So-
That nigga on that nag.
Hey, that's
That nigga on that nag.
So, fellas, let's get it popping right away. White America is very happy this week, not because Donald Trump is president, but because Deion lost the game. That's right. Deion Sanders finally gave them an opportunity to come out and throw their zingers that they've been holding up. So what we're going to start this show up with, what is the worst thing you heard said about Deion Sanders the day after the game? Who wants to start? Who wants to go first?
I didn't even listen.
me either. I ain't
The
seen
worst
nothing.
thing that was said about him. I mean, it was all light shade. It was all light. None of it was too heavy. They're quietly, they're not gonna celebrate this one too openly. They've said all kinds of the reporting on it has been bad from the start.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we know this is a rebuilding team, and nobody thought they were gonna go 12-0. So that they finally lost the game and all that. Like, what do you mean? Like, come on, it's a rebuilding team. It's a first-year coach. He's got them playing better than you thought they would, but relax, breathe.
Yeah, Deion went smart with it though. I like what he said. He said, "Yeah, y'all better give me now." So he went on ahead and said, "Yeah, we got some vulnerabilities. Go ahead and get it now."
They play USC. They play USC on Saturday, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a bloodbath, too. That's going to be
well, but that's
Yeah, it's
all
gonna
right.
get ugly.
I mean, it's tough, especially
Don't get
playing without their star guy.
Without
You
Travis
know-
Hunter.
Yeah. It's like tough.
That D line is just getting mowed over, man.
Yeah, they're too small. But you know what,
Yeah,
though?
defense is their issue.
You know what, though? I was thinking about, something that Rob said last week about their recruiting. And honestly, I saw like a lot that people were trying to really whip up black people against Deion because he sold us out because he left the HBCU circuit for Colorado, so we're supposed to hate him now. And it was kind of heartening to me to see a lot of people saying, like, nah, I ain't hating Deion. I got love for that brother. He's just doing the best that he possibly can. And I think that next year you're going to see a lot of moms sending their young men to Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes. What do you think? Rob?
Well, I'll tell you.
Either
I think
one
the
of
way
you.
that he coaches, I would send my kid to play for him. The way he coaches, I'd send my kid. He gonna make men of them. He's gonna make them accountable. He's gonna make them stand up. He's gonna give them purpose. I mean, I would, every once in a while when I go down the rabbit hole, I'll watch some of his Coach Prime stuff. And
Right.
dude is on point more than he's off it.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
especially with his conversations about, getting these guys to the reason that you're supposed to go to practice, practicing with a purpose. Like, Man, I wish I'd heard that stuff when I was 17, 16. Because there are lots of days when I was at practice because I had to be at practice. I was not there to get better. I was just there because I had to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he's like, fuck, if that's going to be your attitude, get out of here.
Gene, what do you think about Deion?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I didn't see, because I guess I was a bit short-sighted in that, I felt like he should have went on ahead and made diamonds where he was at.
At Jackson State?
Yeah, at Jackson State, right? And I still feel like that, it would have been a different kind of sacrifice than the one that he's making now in whatever way. But now that he is at a PWI and making all that noise, I don't care about before. Shit, I want to see
That's what's up.
I want to see him give it to him right now, I don't, he made the decision he made. And I also said back then too, even though I would want to see him stay and everything else, is that, shit, at the end of the day, it's all the money game anyway. And I can't fault him for playing for going to get that money. I can't fault him for that.
You're right. You're right. No, you're definitely right. Grant, do you think he stays at Colorado?
Yeah, he'll probably stay there. He'll stay there for a few years until he can build the program up to the way he wants it to be a winner. And I have no doubt in my mind that he'll do that. Prime is a unique individual in that he's won at every level, and now he's coached and won at every level thus far. So I have no doubt that in 2 or 3 years with a couple of good recruiting classes, I have no doubt that Deion Sanders will take Colorado to the promised land and keep him there for a couple seasons.
Gene,
one condition.
Gene, you think 5 years
There's
at Colorado? You think he does 5 years at Colorado?
One condition.
Okay.
They are going to have to make him the highest paid coach in the history of the NCAA. And he will have, and they will be justified in doing it, and it will be appropriate because of the money that he is bringing them, has brought them thus far, and will continue to bring them.
Absolutely.
And so if they meet that condition, then yeah. But if they don't, then shit. I don't know. You know what? It may be that Deion already has another move on the board, and it's going to be executed in his time or whatever. I don't know. But I don't know if I said this on here, but I said it to somebody. All I know is when that Netflix special comes out, it's going to be about the greatness of a white mind that taught Deion to come to Colorado. They're going to make a Netflix special on the guy who turned the Colorado program around. And Deion's going to be a side note in it. That's how they're going to do that. Watch.
Well, they are good at erasing things and taking credit for stuff. So, and that is the American way. We were kind of talking about that today, how R&B music is going to be, Justin Timberlake is going to be the original R&B song guy. Maybe Puff will figure out a way to stay relevant at 105. You never know. He's kind of dope albums.
I just driving home. I don't know whose plan it was. I don't know if this is business and football wise, the brilliance of only Deion, or if it's like I just made a joke about, if the business side was someone saying so. I'm wondering if someone really thought about all this revenue and these possibilities when they pitched the idea to somebody else or whatever, if that was all part of the conversation at the beginning.
It had to be.
Yeah.
You had to see it coming.
Or was or was this Deion's brilliance saying, "This is what I'm bringing to the table. Can you, revenue this, and this," and then then the light bulb going off in their heads and saying, "Oh, but my money is on a Netflix special." What them Colorado dudes? That's the genius behind all this.
But at some point, somebody got to be the Branch Rickey. You see what I'm saying? Like somebody got to see the brilliance and bring them up to the next level. You see what I'm saying? So there's always in this country, there's always going to be a Branch Rickey.
So you're saying that, and Rob, would you agree that Deion Sanders is essentially the black football coach, Pirate King? And maybe
Pirate King. I don't know if we need to call him a Pirate King.
Well, I mean,
he's doing what they all do.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with being a pirate. A pirate is like working outside of the system. Many of them swashbuckle their ways to fortune. Swimming against the tide,
he ain't swashbuckling nothing. Like, we keep acting like this dude came from the outside, like this dude ain't a Hall of Fame football player.
Right.
Like, he went and coached high school first. Like, he ain't just walk up to Colorado one day and say, "Hey, y'all should give me a job coaching." No, I don't have any experience, but like, he's done and he's won at every level.
Right.
Like, he has proven himself everywhere he has gone. So, and he had also done that on the marketing and merchandising side when he was a player. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, he walked up to Colorado and said, "Look, this is all that I can bring you. Like, you want to bring this thing back? We can make this happen here and now. And this is what I'm going to bring to you, but this is what you got to give to me." And I'm sure he asked for the world, and he's worth every dime of it so far.
Every goddamn dime. Every goddamn dime.
Discounts. $6 million, they got him at a discount. They didn't imagine this kind of revenue. I'm sure of it.
Deion sets it off.
It would not surprise me if he's getting a portion of some of that.
Deion set it off.
The ticket sales, stuff like that. Like, I'm sure that there were markers for ticket sales. If he got ticket sales up above a certain amount, they get their per caps up. I'm sure he is. He is not. He is. I can see him sitting in the room going, "Yo, I'm not that nigga. Y'all ain't gonna sit here and make a couple $1 million off of me and just hand me some change off the end of the table, like slide some shit off. No. If I'm creating wealth for you, you gonna help. You gonna break some of it off of me."
He brought his boy, and he brought a marquee player with him, and he's created magic. Deion Sanders, for even keeping the public imagination this long, it shows that it just proves his mettle, because Deion Sanders is a guy that was a two-sport athlete. People forget about the fact that he played baseball at the same time he was playing quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. At one point, he was doing both, just like Bo Jackson, and he did it with more talent and more flash than anybody else. Now he goes and he coaches down at Jackson State. Not the quality of athlete that he played with in college, that he was used to. He turns them into winners, goes to Colorado, takes less, and turns it into more, and starts up the season with 3 wins against teams that he could have easily started 0-3 against. So he's just proving to you that it's not just the raw talent. It's the man himself. So, flowers to Deion, and thank you for setting off the hour for Born in Trouble today. By the way, fellas, this is going to be our last episode this week. We're going to take a hiatus next week and everything while I'm down in Atlanta, or I should be traveling back at that time. So tonight, we're going to talk about some other things. And since we're going to keep it on the hate train, Rob, you have something to say? You have something you want to get out here?
No, the hate train. I'm interested to see where the hate train is going.
Well, the hate train, it's not very difficult for you to see. We all see it every day. And the hate train, it starts off with Deion in Colorado, and we all knew that he was going to lose this week. Actually, like you guys said,
I was a sucker. I betted on it. I took the 21 and betted on it, and lost that yard.
Yeah,
that's what I did. Goddamn it!
You didn't talk to
PTSD.
Obviously, you didn't talk to anybody on this board before you placed that bet, because I believe that everybody would have told you don't do it. Right? Is it safe to say that y'all would have said don't do it?
If you bet that with a gun in your head, you'd die.
Yeah, I thought the 21 was a lot.
Yeah.
But oh well.
Well, it wasn't. It wasn't meant
I
to
didn't
be.
know TCU was that bad. Because I was thinking, shit, man, they beat last year's runner-up. How can they be dogs? I mean, how can they be dogs by 21? And then I was like, then they gonna look? They put 21 Prime's number on it. Come on, man.
Colorado State gave more than a handful the week before. Like, you could see their weaknesses in the Colorado State game. Like, there were gaping holes
That's a
there.
fact.
They played themselves.
It was fool's gold, and I took it. I was the fool that took the gold.
Well, the thing is, like, you know what?
They got that number out there far enough.
You know,
go, there's no way.
You know what you're supposed to see when you see Colorado play Colorado State? A significant size difference between the players. Colorado's players are supposed to be bigger than Colorado State's players. And you didn't see that. When you saw the game this week with Colorado playing against who they played, you saw the size difference between Colorado and the other team. The other team was like, they were bigger. They were stronger. They were Division I, high Division I. And that's what Deion has to recruit in the next couple of years. And I'm sure that's what he's going after. And I think a lot of mothers are going to be sending their sons to Deion Sanders in Colorado. Because, like, you know, a lot of people are watching what they say about it. They better watch what they say about Deion. They need to just, all these people, all the other coaches, they need to just, like, pipe down, because they're actually, like, they're making his case for him. They're doing his recruiting for him by hating on him. So now everybody want to hate on Deion. Now everybody want to hate on Oprah. Why everybody mad at Oprah right now? Rob?
Who's mad at Oprah?
Why are you mad at Oprah?
I'm mad at Oprah.
What Oprah do?
Apparently, Oprah exploits supermodels.
In Hawaii.
Oh, yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, no, we're not talking about her property theft right now. We're not talking about her. Oprah Winfrey, Monopoly champion. Gobble, gobble, gobble. No, we're not talking about that Oprah. We're talking about the Oprah that exploits supermodels.
How?
So, if you're a supermodel, isn't your life exploitation?
Right. Great. That's a great insight there.
Like,
Grant.
that's that's kind of what you're signing up for, right?
Yeah.
Right. I saw an interview with Gisele Bundchen yesterday, and basically she said, like, all these people, none of them hired me. They hired my look. They like the way they like the way clothes hang off me. They like the way my hair looked. They like the image that I projected. None of them asked a thing about me. None of them cared about me.
That's right. That's the
I
job.
I was just the thing that was being used.
That's the job.
So how can Oprah exploit something that basically is,
well, if anybody's not up on it, Cindy Crawford came out and she said that she was when she was on the show, one of the first times she was on the Oprah Winfrey show, I think maybe the first time, she was with her manager / pimp, some guy John Casa, I think it's John Casanova, Blanca Nova, which child rapist model guy who ended up doing years in prison because he raped women. He raped models and everything. But he's not the problem that she's sitting there with. Oprah, for asking her to stand up and show off her look, a model, made her feel objectified. So much so that every time she went on Oprah's show, the 10 other times after that, she never forgot it.
Why? Why did she even bring it up? What was the context?
10. She went on the show 10. Look how many fingers I have. If she had been on the show one more time, I couldn't show people at home how many fingers I have up. It would be too many times. But the one time she was objectified, and 10 more times. Isn't that what models do?
Yeah.
Like, get attention?
It's kind of the job. Like, you're hired because of, like, once again, like she didn't understand the assignment at that point. Like you were high. That body is what's making you eat right now. You don't have that body. Nobody's calling you. You're not going on Oprah Winfrey show. Like there's no reason for you to be there otherwise.
Well,
You forgot the assignment.
I saw somebody else who had an interesting point of view. He said, what this shows you is that no matter how close you feel like you are to these other people and everything, at the end, they'll exactly show you who they are and how they feel about you. Because Oprah had basically been an essential part of pushing every project that Cindy Crawford did throughout her career. And at that point in time, in the 80s and the 90s, even in the early 2000s, when did she stop doing her show? Like, it was like early 2000s?
You needed Oprah's stamp of approval. Like an appearance on the Oprah Winfrey Show changed your balance sheet overnight.
And that's what she did. She took advantage of all of the access to Oprah. Now, Oprah is no longer Oprah, and they're going after her like full throttle. It's like, even with the Hawaii thing, I don't know whether or not Oprah's actually stealing people's land and making like a land baron because she's going to build coconut groves and have papaya farms where she uses slave labor from Japanese camps. I haven't read those plans, and nobody's asked me to invest in that.
Are you disappointed by the fact that nobody's asked you about that?
What I'm saying is I don't know anything about that, if that were actually a true thing that was actually going on. I disavow any knowledge of it right now. I learned this from watching Donald Trump. That's the way you do it. That's how you do it. Call me Oprah. But I don't know anything about that. But everybody seems to be like, it seems like they're going after Oprah's money. It's like whenever
of course,
poor white people are broke, they always use the closest poor person that they can find. And in a billionaire's neighborhood, it's Oprah, because she's only worth about $2 or $3 billion. She's a dispensable billionaire, right? And most of her power is in public opinion. So better to get her out of there. I mean, I've never been in love with Oprah per se, but it just seems to me like you see a lot of hit jobs on this woman. Is all this stuff by design?
So I got to.
And before you start, we can discuss Clarence Thomas also possibly being a hit job too. But go ahead.
No, is she suing Oprah? Is that real? Okay. Because I was going to ask if she's suing Sports Illustrated too.
She's suing her in the court of public opinion. She basically went out there and said, she made me feel uncomfortable. But she wasn't uncomfortable getting that money.
She needed to just go sit the fuck down somewhere. Shit. I mean, she had a good run.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? An exceptional run. What are you doing? Shit.
I would be interested to know where she is now.
And what's the context?
She's doing well.
Behind
She's
this?
doing well. Her life is good.
I wonder what the context is. Like, this is just what she just walked up to a reporter and started spitting this shit out. I think not. What was it?
It's
response to a question.
It's kind of like what we talk about with victimization. And one way that you can actually identify with this generation is by becoming a victim. It's not in all cases, and I hate to even say that because then it sounds like, ugh. But there's a victimization culture that we live with here in the United States, and she just made herself a victim, and she made someone who's very believable, who a lot of people on a certain side with a certain bent are angry at. She made her the aggressor. And now she's got attention. And Oprah's not going to.
There's a little mini documentary series about the supermodels, about Cindy, Linda Evangelista, Naomi Campbell, and the one who's married to Ed Burns, Christy Turlington. Mm-hmm. Christy Turlington Burns. So the context is it came out within the body of that program.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Them reminiscing a lot about their upbringing, what have you, how they got into the business, how they kept their friendship together through it, which wasn't always, they weren't always all warm and fuzzy together. That's not really Linda's style or Naomi's.
Yeah. Well, Naomi, I'll never forget when she was on the Cannabis record. LL Cool J, you're a punk.
Oh yeah,
that was horrible. Definitely the low light of her career. I used to love Naomi Campbell until that moment. Not so much that I was on one of the two rappers' side more than the other. Cannabis definitely won that one, but it's not like I have any animus towards either one of them. It was just that once Naomi came out like that, it was like, what are you doing? What is she doing? What did that mean? Did LL Cool J slap her once and everything? Or mush her when she was trying to kick it? Was there some type of love thing involved there? What was that all about? Did we really need that in that hip-hop record? Huh?
Did Cannabis win?
Oh, well, Cannabis definitely lost everything. But he lost everything. Lyrically, he proved the point that he was a dope lyricist. Business-wise, he proved that he could actually make decisions that would take him out of the game immediately. So I guess win is a subjective term, but that's a lot of people that were involved in the hip hop business, right? That's what it is.
True.
It's Puff giving up, like Rob said, seeing 3 Ghosts and giving back all publishing to his artist.
Handing back publishing.
All while coming out with his own
I did
new record. You read that?
Yeah, that he gave back publishing. Is that pretty? Did he do that?
Yes.
Shit.
Yes, he did. Like the Ghost of Christmas Past. He did that.
Well,
it's a gesture. You could parlay it into something.
Yeah, he may be able to bundle it up and sell it to somebody right now. Get a couple dollars for it. Rescue something.
Hey,
but who he gave who did he give? Black Rob, Shine, I guess.
I don't know.
Mace.
But
other than Big and Craig is dead total.
Yeah,
I guess. So
what about Faith?
112.
I think he gave back Faith.
Yeah, 112. Faith. So there's some significance to it. He didn't have to do it,
right?
So there is that. But if you Black Rob,
Black Rob is in jail, isn't he? He's in jail for murder.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. He had killed somebody, and he said he couldn't live with the guilt. And he turned himself in at a certain point.
What?
Yeah. There's...
That's a real thing? That's a real thing?
Yeah, you can...
Wow.
Did you read Crime and Punishment?
One of those bad boy rappers that had they had a rough run over at that label. Those guys. That's why a lot of people are like,
Did they have a rough run, or did they position themselves poorly and then had to deal with the consequences or the spinning wheel of karma?
Well,
when you decide to post yourself, yourself erroneously in public.
Black Rob had cardiac arrest and died.
Oh, he died. Okay.
Yeah.
There's another one. There's another one that
go back edit that shit out.
Did another song. No, I'm not going to edit it because it's another bad boy artist that I'm talking about that actually went to jail for murder. He gave himself up for murder.
Shine, right?
No, it wasn't Shine. No, it wasn't Shine. How many?
Talking about, was that dude Chopper from Louisiana?
No. We're going to change the subject and talk about something else. I'll look it up while I'm here. Because if I'm wrong, then I do have to do a big edit.
GCG. G-Dep.
Yeah, I think G-Dep. Yeah, is that it? G-Dep. Yeah.
G-Dep.
Yep. Confessed to a forgotten murder after 17 years.
Yep.
And went to jail? And went to jail?
I believe so, yep.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. I bet you he regretting that.
That was a special delivery for your ass.
I can almost guarantee it. I know a guy who said that Jesus told him to tell the truth, and and everything would be all right. And he went to prison for 2 years.
Wow.
Well, that's the path that he had to take.
But you know what the Lord? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Lord does work in material.
It's a real thing too. I'm laughing because it's a real thing, and the thing, man.
But what's he doing now, though? What's he doing now?
He ain't taking my calls because he done found Jesus again, and I'm Satan, so you ain't taking my calls, shit.
Well, you know what though? He found Jesus. Maybe those 2 years in jail are what allowed him to still be here today. You never know. The Lord works in mysterious ways. That's the way.
I just on the street that was,
I just think it's mind blowing that he still has the capacity to judge somebody. It's just mind blowing, man.
You're wrong, bro. Oh man. So, is he married?
Maybe I've seen it. Last time I saw him was probably 6 months ago, and I reached out a couple times because I really do like the dude, he hasn't. I guess he just hasn't either returned or answered or whatever, or just kept it short by text. So I don't know, man. But I know that he was involved with somebody and whatever,
So was he
man.
like one of these extreme Christians that he was like, I'm not going to hell, I'm not going to have sex before marriage?
He's always been a cool brother, but he's an educated dude, and we had a conversation one time, and because he was talking about Jesus a little bit, very frequently. And so I think in context, I had to tell him that, yeah, that's cool for you and everything else, but I came to a point where I set everything down for questioning and examination. And when I set it down, I set it over there like, I don't subscribe to that shit until I get done with the questioning and examination. And he finished my sentence by saying, yeah, and that meant Christianity too, because he knew where I was going with it. And I said, yeah, that meant that too. And I think after that conversation, that was ever the same. But that's because I'm telling you, man, that religion is a zero-sum game at the end of the day. Or not zero-sum, but it's just it's completely focused and narrow. And there's not a lot of room for going outside the path of, for most people, traditional teaching.
Would you consider
most people don't go in depth beyond traditional?
Would you consider acceptable behavior in a Christian church being sexual behavior amongst parishioners?
Yeah, like laying the hands on titties. I'm for all that, man. That makes some good content.
The reason why I'm bringing it up is that church people do tend to be happy people, and they do tend to intermingle with each other in very interesting ways that they don't teach they do talk about in the Bible, but they don't teach the actual workings of like what they're doing. And generally, we have a country right now where a lot of men in particular are not getting laid. We've got the incel movement. We've got all these man movements, with all these crazy ideologies about what women should be and how they should behave. Truly like the dangerous patriarchy that people talk about when they describe the quote-unquote patriarchy. That's that extreme. That's that 5%. That's that crazy extreme. But it seems as if like that, it's not just a small group anymore. It's actually growing. and a lot of people aren't getting laid. And I just started thinking about it the other day. I was watching something about the economics that have changed over the course of years in this country. And I thought about you, Grant, because you grew up in, for a large part of time in Detroit. And that's what actually hit it. I was watching the Detroit auto workers strike. And the brothers that were out there striking, they didn't look like they were like rich. They didn't look like they had money. Not like they used to back in the days in the 80s when I used to watch those things. And, the union was strong and there'd be 40,000 people like packed into a room and everything, like screaming. And those guys were driving Cadillacs and, they had families and they had second families. That's not what they're striking about now, is it? Now it's just basically...
No, it's all about money.
It's all about just barely getting enough money for those workers.
So after the big three got bailed out and all that, those positions changed. So where you used to be able to, buy a house, buy a car, support a family, send your kids to college, all that kind of thing off of just working at a plant. So you were making, $40 an hour, $50 an hour. But now those jobs are $17 an hour at entry level. You know what I mean? 17, 25. You know what I mean? They're much lower on the scale. And I think that the slap in the face is that one of the CEOs just got a 40% raise on his millions of dollars that he was making. So he gets a 40% raise.
While they're talking about we don't have money.
Right.
We got to hold your wages steady.
Now,
so that's why they're striking.
Mm-hmm. Now, I was looking at that and I was thinking about it. I was like, man, those guys back there, they're not striking to get money for vacations, to go get laid. Those guys are just like, they're striking to just basically have the right to survive. And I thought about it in terms of like what's going on in this country. And, a lot of people can't survive a $500 like emergency. The percentage of families that can't survive that $500 emergency, it's incredibly high. And
isn't it most?
Yes.
Wouldn't the word be most? Over 50%?
Well over 50%. I forget what the exact number is, but it's like well over 50%. It's like 60. It's at like 60% right now. So the majority of people in this country are fucking wound tight, bro. We're all wound up really, really tight, except for those people who have solid employment. People who work for municipalities are usually good, like yourself, Grant. You have that municipal job. That's good. Long-term organizations like yourself, Robert. Gene, you're always good and everything. And also I was thinking about someone else who's on the show. Like sometimes it's like the other side of that equation is like guys like the other people I see that are doing well, guys like Orlando. And he's out there wheeling and dealing right now. Big shout out to Mr. Walters right now. But the majority of people, they can't afford to. What is it that women are learning right now? You don't give your pussy to like broke men, right? You don't have sex with broke men. It's no longer the days where you could be. It's like, I was thinking about how it all links into terraforming our society. Because you go from the guy who used to work in a factory in a plant, who could take his time off and go out and have a good time with Susie on Friday and afford to go out and have a good time with Jan on Saturday. And also, that also gave Jan and Susie more options too, because it was more people who had money. So now you're making decisions about who you mate with based upon more parameters than just who can afford to take care of you. Now, no one can really afford to take care of you. So,
well, that's the thing. So all of these women are fighting for the same 1% guy.
Oh, 1%. But it's like they said, like 20% of guys is knocking down 80% of the women.
Right. So if you're talking about, so you hear what I hear all the time, at least on social media when I dive into it, what I hear is a six-figure man, a high value dollar man, or whatever the term is, right?
Yeah.
But that's a rare man. That's not most people. You know
That's
what I mean?
what Kevin was trying to tell him the whole time. That's what he was trying to tell him. Look, ain't nothing wrong with you wanting it, but you might as well want some rainbows and unicorns too.
Right.
You know, I mean,
and if you're looking for $100,000 man, or on the low end, you looking for $100,000 man, but you a $30,000 chick.
Yeah.
What the fuck is he? Why do you think he would want you?
That was part of the other problem. Like, none of them think that they all think that they right up there. They all think that they gorgeous, whatever, The women are hyped, women hype each other up. And they be having some of these munchkin looking trolls thinking that they should be dating, a cat who got 6 figures and 2 cars and gonna fly her. I'm gonna fly your troll ass anywhere. Go to the bridge.
You better do a magic spell.
I love what they be. I love what they be telling them when they be saying they left somebody because he wasn't ambitious enough and everything else, and then after he peels the whole onion back and shows all of the layers of what they're dealing with and wanting that type of man. I love when Kevin hits him with you need to go back and get with him.
Exactly.
Right.
You screwed up.
He's all you need to hear with he's all you've got.
Or die alone.
Rest in peace, Mr. Samuels. He was a funny dude. But my point is though, as far as mating is concerned, there used to be plenty of opportunities for people to get together and intermingle and have relations, and people were generally happy because they were fucking. Just, call it what it was. And the younger generations now, despite all the sexuality and all the different things that was out there, now it's been flipped. It's almost like puritanical in some regions. Puritanical in some regions, OnlyFans in others. That's like the gamut that we actually run and everything. But this is what they're actually. Go ahead.
I think the reason the whole sex scene has changed was because there wasn't much else back then. So when somebody batted their eyelashes at you, it was a big thing in your mind, something to consume your mind and this and that, because there was nothing competing for your attention. But now, man, there's so many things grabbing attention, man. That's just, I think for most kids,
I don't know if what you're. I hear what you're saying. I'm feeling what you're putting down right there. The only problem is that better than like actual sex with a woman, or or anyone.
But it's so easy to get into a comfort zone now.
Yeah.
Like, because you have all of it, you have all this technology, you have all these things at your fingertips. Whereas, before you could get bored and be like, this sucks. Like, I got to do something different. Now you got your games there, you got your big TV. You just, like, it's real easy to sort of just get comfortable and wake up one day and be like, I don't even know how to do that anymore. And I'm really not interested in it.
That human connection. But a lot of these kids aren't even.
They're so disconnected. They get so disconnected because it's so easy to be disconnected.
A lot of these kids are never learning a proper connection in the first place. A lot of these people are never learning a proper. That's why you have adolescents running at 28, 32. You think it's proper?
The lines of proper are changing. You can't even. The lines of everything are changing, and so I like to romanticize about some of the good things in the past, but at the end of the day, I'm ready for the shits, all of them, quickly. You know what I'm saying? Let's get it cracking, because that's that. And I say that just to say that everything is different, and I don't know that anything was better in the past when you look at the whole picture. And so it's just about these kids and people are different. They have different options, and life is completely different now than it was 25 years ago, 20 years ago. Everything is different. So,
right.
so
now you're allowed to LARP in public. Like, really?
What is what?
Live action role play?
Oh.
remember the kids who were into that were freaks, and now they're everywhere. Yeah. They're out in the park every weekend.
Well,
yeah,
I still have an issue with the lack of look. Everything that they're talking about on a political level, it's like the old people are scared shit because their corporate lords are on them because we're not producing enough people. One of the reasons why we're not producing enough people is because people aren't having enough sex. You've got a whole generation of young men that are angry at women.
Unprotected.
Protected, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Not your hand. You know what I'm saying? And then the next thing with that is that you've got a whole bunch of people that are angry because they can't find a spouse or a mate. They're not intermingling. And people are just so disconnected. And, you guys just say that that's the way that things are and that's the change. But it's obvious that these changes aren't good for people.
What's good?
Right. But that's just the evolution of society. We've gotten to a point where everything has become about pleasure. Right? Like it's always got to be pleasure. You know what I mean? So it's hard to have a couple of fights with a not fist fights, but have a couple of arguments with your spouse or even your girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever you have. It's hard to have a couple arguments, like real arguments, and keep that relationship going because now you're not giving that pleasure that person wants because that's what they see on their feeds from everything. All the social cues that people get are just about pleasure. And if in a relationship, it's not always about pleasure.
You're right.
I saw this. There's a psychologist, or I think she's a psychologist, online, but she's talking about the fact like, y'all are chasing a feeling. Like everything's about chasing that feeling, but you hit a rough spot. You're with somebody. You've been with them for a while now. After a while, all their stories. They're not going to surprise you. At least they shouldn't surprise you. And you gotta then all of a sudden you meet somebody else like, oh, it's so great. We can talk. Well, you don't know them. Once upon a time, you didn't know this person. Like the same. You're going to come to that same end. Like at some point, you have to work through the boredom, or else you're going to stay on this loop. Like at some point, you have to learn how to build something beyond that early energy and excitement.
See, you guys are
I don't know where anybody's teaching that right now.
You guys are like great at
endorsing that.
You guys are like great at this topic and discussing like how people aren't connecting. But the bottom line with everything, what it comes down to is that no man can afford to pay for to date a modern woman today or any woman today, because we're talking about an economy that has seen rent raise like something like 16 times the cost of rent. All these different costs and expenses raise so much, and the only things that aren't going up are actual salaries. So even having the funds,
and so now folks got to team up. Now you got to get a partner now. Like it's harder to get. That's the reality. The world is evolved, and people got to partner up.
Yeah, I'm not even arguing the economics of that concept. But the problem with that is that when these people, the young people, are not learning that you have to couple up and start early. It's more like you're with this person and this person doesn't have anything. And then that person is looking at you like, why should I be with you? Because you also don't have anything. So instead of getting together, which is what people used to do, team up when they didn't have much and build something from the ground up, that message is completely and totally like, whoosh, that doesn't exist anymore.
That's not what social media is pushing these days. That's not what a lot of our black street philosophers are pushing.
And it's never, and the thing is, it doesn't seem like it's ever going back in that direction.
But that's the thing. You can't go back because you've already gone past it. You know what I mean? Like you can revisit it on some level. You're always gonna have, like, there's schools right now that don't allow computer devices, so no phones, no computers or whatever. So yeah, you can always have like a little niche of people that do something like that, but
like the Amish,
right? But the 85s. The 85s, here we go.
See, but
they're always going to be, right, the 85s are always going to be in the Matrix. So whatever the Matrix is spitting out, that's what the 85s are going to be doing.
See, but here's the thing. Both of you introduced that idea and that concept into the conversation as a must, as a real necessity in order to move forward economically in this current climate. And
yeah, it could, but you know what? It doesn't have to be traditional. Like, I was sitting here thinking, hell, I'm about ready to team up with other couples. I mean, you know, also we could, you know, like some foreigners that come over here to try to get the job done like that. You know, we don't know what the new situation is going to be, but no doubt about it, the new situation is here and coming, so to speak. You know, it could be, we're traditional. It's like, yeah, we need to be coupling up. Everybody needs one person, whoop-de-whoop, this and that. Man, I don't know. It could be 5 or 6 people dedicated to some shit like that with these young folks. So, I mean, and that's still a workable solution.
That's
we need to start getting that into the education system now. I think I mentioned that a couple of weeks ago. Like, you know, the kids, you know, my daughter, like, we all got kids sort of in that same range. Like, really, my daughter went out and got an apartment by herself. Really, she should have gone and gotten an apartment with 3 friends.
yes,
So they could all bank money.
yes,
You know,
Right.
that's some dudes who come over. I got a dude next door. He's Indian, off the subcontinent, not Native American. He bought the place next door, fixed it up. About 6 months, 8 months later, here comes his brother and his brother's wife and their 2 kids. Like, and they gonna, you know, so there's you've been to my place. There's 5 people in a space this size, and you know, they doing their thing, man. They're banking money. You know, I bet you they'll have another family member over here before you know it, and they'll be buying 2 houses.
yeah.
But here we go. So this just kind of goes back to what we talked about a couple weeks ago. So we don't have, like, that group economics that you're referring to. That's taught in that community, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're Asian, so if you Chinese, Japanese, whatever, if you Indian from the subcontinent, as Rob said, that group economics is taught in that culture. But here we are, people in a country that have no culture to revert back to. Right? So where do we get that knowledge, or even begin to develop that understanding that, hey, maybe we need to pull some shit together? You know, where do you find like-minded people in a group of people that don't have that piece of knowledge to revert back to? You see what I'm saying?
Secret societies, the upper crust,
Under rocks,
the 1%.
cracks and crevices.
There are people. There
You
are actually people that are doing it and have been doing it for generations. That's
Yes,
what.
sir.
That's what. And they've been born into these places, and these are things that. And this is what they try to convince you that there's no value in actually doing by having you mistrust your partners, mistrust your people. Africans don't trust FBAs don't trust Africans, Dominicans don't like Puerto Ricans, Mexicans can't get along with anybody. Just examples. The Chinese, the Japanese, Malaysians, always apart and always ruled by the same ruling people on the top of each level across each country and each region. It's not like it's just like only Black people in this area or Chinese people in this area or Russian people in this area. It's all broken down. It's all broken down. So anyway, The thing is about the economics, my point about the economics, I want to wrap it up because I kind of went off into a tangent right there, but my point about the economics of love right now and the way it works against people is simply the fact that it's like all these elements you do need to basically crowdsource in order to get things and work together now. In order to have properties, you can still make those things attainable and achievable by doing things that are not traditionally what we do, but there's a large segment of people, white people in this country, that don't want to do that. And they're facing the economic reality of lower wages that don't allow them to live the lifestyle that they normally were able to live, where they could have either one girlfriend or two girlfriends, or just basically not have to play on the internet all day long. And they're mad. People are mad. They're not getting laid. Young people not getting laid is not a good thing. I don't see how it could possibly be a good thing.
I was young, and that was the case for me. Hell, and I think that's most people. Like I said, you might be the exception to the rule there, X. I don't think there's like a lot of young people. Well, in the South, I take that back, and down here, it's a little bit different.
I think a lot of people were getting laid. It wasn't just me. Rob was always getting laid. He still gets laid today.
Well, you too,
don't you, Rob?
Are the exception. I'm talking about.
Everybody's got to have a hobby.
Everybody's got to have a hobby.
I sure wasn't no goddamn exception. I wanted to be though.
But when you cut away, it's not just. You see, the thing is, I didn't get to cover it enough because it's not just the men that are affected; it's the women that are affected too. Because, like you said, it's like there's like, someone made a joke in Atlanta. There's 3 Nigerians that have had sex with everybody in Atlanta. They're the ones that are running through 3 Nigerian dudes. Young dudes are running through the whole population. Down there, the young population.
X, these dumbass young people, I don't want them doing that. It's gonna cost us. It's gonna cost us.
Well, you don't have anything.
I have no faith in them.
You have nothing to worry about it along those lines. But what I'm saying is, though, it's like it doesn't. Even the women don't have options. If the women's only options are those 3 dudes. It's not good.
They need to lower their goddamn. They got options. They need to lower their goddamn standards.
We all need to lower our
standards. But dudes got to
standards.
also step up a little bit too. Like I see some of these knuckleheads in my office, and I'm just like, my goodness. One day you're gonna wake up and wonder why. Like I look at the scene and think, if I was that dude, like, you just slay. Like you could walk into a group of 25 to 30 year olds and just slay, because their peers, the males who are in their peer group, they're just knuckleheads. They're still doing childish things. Mm-hmm. And social media sort of encourages that. Like, you make funny video and you see your funny video. You and your boys want to make a funny video on Saturday. Saturdays are for the boys. All that shit. The culture's pushing dudes to stay immature. Why? Because immature dudes blow their money.
Right.
Good point.
Immature dudes hand it over into the most profitable possible fashion, in the most profitable possible way.
And they don't build families. That was the other thing that Kevin Samuels never got credit for. That at the end of his message, it was all for the purpose of building families, because that was the fastest way to this, that, and the other. All the things we talked about. It's through the structure of the family, not outside of it, the wild, wild west. But no, there's just too many. There's layers of problems as to why. Black women are in the condition they're in, and the no coupling and this and that. There's layers of issues. There's nothing. I mean, it's almost. I'm telling you, it's almost appropriate though. We've been so perverted. The society has been so perverted. What do you think the offshoots are going to be? Righteousness? No, it's gonna be. It's gonna be a
further perversion.
Exactly, further perversion. So that's another reason why the cynical side of me just says, "Look, bring it on, shit. I'm through thinking something could change and this and that and everything else. Now the only question is, will I be alive to see some significant shit, like like a real change somehow, whether it be friendly or violent."
Well, I think we're definitely getting change. And guess what? The hour is up. So let me give a shout out to Mr. Mean Gene Hopkins.
Oh, how them young people do it when they crash you. I mean, whoever do something to me, I do it right back to them. I know what's going on. I'm looking for the hardcore.
Looking for the hardcore. Nothing more hardcore than the good looks of Mr. Brooks, Robert Brooks.
Yo. They ain't give me no cups of coffee or nothing, but get laid every once in a while. Yeah, I'm starting to get old. I'll take the free food. Sometimes you're like, maybe I'll take the food. Maybe
right.
Wish this was like a free meal instead.
Yeah, that's
funny.
So we know you've got more on your plate now. More on your plate than wings from the City Wing King, Grant Lancaster.
We have to show him how to do some Seitan wings at some point in the future.
Grant Lancaster, owner of City Wings.
That's right. 2896 West Grand Boulevard, Detroit, Michigan. Come down and get you some.
Wings, that is. It's the Grant Lancaster.
Let me say this. We just had our 13th anniversary on the 22nd. So
that's what's up.
That's what's up for sure.
Yeah. 13 years.
And they said they said most of them don't last through the second year.
Don't last. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you're still here. That's what's up. City Wings. I'm going to end the recording.